It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way.
I want to say a special shout out to Donna and Ella Wallace from London, England, Sheena and Brian Tulloch Gaines, Laverne Archer, Carol and Greg Black from Canada through the Care JA partnership with Garrett Trading and Installation Limited, and that's Peyton Page Tulloch and Alison Tulloch. And we just want to say thank you for the donations to the people of Portland Eastern. This goes a long way in continuing the care package effort for the post-Melissa relief. We appreciate you and the continued partnership with the Member of Parliament from Portland Eastern, myself. And we look forward to many more donations and assistance for the people of Portland Eastern. A much needed and timely donation. Blessings. Takes the current foundation to $425,000. We look forward to future donations, and this donation is coming from myself, Isaac Buchanan, the Member of Parliament for Portland Eastern, as well as Dr. Fenton Ferguson. There is a long history with Dr. Ferguson and Miss Addie, but what I will say is that a life well spent and a life lived continues through legacy. So we are supporting this foundation 100% and look forward to continuing to strengthen the foundation as it aligns with our mandate in Portland Eastern, which is to bring the heat, which is health, education, agriculture, and tourism. As the spokesperson on youth and human rights for the opposition, People's National Party, I can tell you that we look forward to great things and partnering. This is Roma. See her face, remember it. She looks like our grandmother. And she will be collecting all the donations, and transparency and accountability. I'm confident that she's the perfect person to march this project and this foundation where it needs to be to helping the youth of Portland. So this is to you and the foundation.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Buchanan, and also Dr. Ferguson. This generous contribution will help honor my grandmother's legacy, her importance, or her push on the importance of education. Books, uniforms, eat. This contribution will go a very far way, and I'm very appreciative. Thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome. We launched the foundation yesterday. I'm saying yesterday dating it because on the 29th of March, Miss Addie was laid to rest. If you were there to listen to some of the tributes, you would understand. But I take with you, if you're ever buying fish, don't eat it unless it's 10 pounds or more. Otherwise, we don't want it. But I'll just say that she has impacted me in such a way that if somebody can touch you in just a short time and you remember her, that is definitely why we live and the purpose of life. I don't know it, but I know that is a part of it. So blessings to you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, so good afternoon and welcome to Context Matters. The date is April 9th, 2026. And, every time I say I'm supposed to say legs. But when you are purpose driven, you will find that you view life a lot different from the ordinary, mindless creature that is set out to do absolutely nothing in life. A focus driven life will open your eyes to so much more, and you will live a selfless life. And when you start to consider others and think about the welfare of the people around you, your life will be so much better and it will add value to your existence. Why would I have said that? Well, if you're joining me from Reggae Global Radio, our flagship station, it's now 5:07 in the United States. All its syndicates and affiliates all across America that is airing Context Matters. Good afternoon. If you are joining me from Best FM 100 Wagwan right here in Jamaica, it's 4:07. And let me tell you something. It just means say you're probably on your way home. If you're in the Kingston area, traffic it ticky 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 tick. It's slow, it's slow, it's slow. And boy, look out for the taxi man then, cause you might find yourself a crashing at somebody else and not them, and then they're gonna escape in nearby bushes. But don't come for me. Just putting that out there. The traffic is really horrible, but you will have good conversations because we're going to be talking about charity, change, and the value of existence, and that is together versus separate. There is some method to the madness. So we'll expound on it. If you're joining me from TikTok, you know what it is. Tap up the screen, share the live, um, continue to do what you're doing, educate, don't procrastinate, and you know, make your presence felt, useful, positive energy only, and keep it respectful. While I appreciate freedom of expression, you can express your negativity on many other platforms. This is probably not the platform for you. If you are joining me, and shout out to my moderators, it's Holy for them, Verona, Tanisha B, KK, Samantha, big up on yourself. Gardner, I see you. All my moderators on TikTok. Blocky, blocky. No, no. Let me get to YouTube. If you're joining me from YouTube, welcome to all the loyal viewers and listeners, contextualizers, people who are always looking to find something new, a different interpretation of current affairs. You are in the right place. Shout out to my moderator, Walking in the Divine Purpose. We are going to be talking about many things today, but it's a free form conversation. So I promise you, if it is that you are sending me your messages, I'm doing my best to read them. And while while I'm reading, you see me laughing because Insta Nanny. I was saying about Insta Nanny. Insta Nanny asked a question. I'm a moderator. Block her, and she did find me. She tracked me down, and she was ready to come to my office to say, "How dare they block me?" But you see, I now gonna tell my moderators don't block her again. You know, and she know where to find me, so I will have to unblock her each time. But anyway, I want to say that wherever you are, this is a free form conversation, but it's a very important conversation. Some of the conversation might prove to be uncomfortable to those who follow restrictive, unprogressive, non-progressive mindset. In that the word of the day is bully, and this segment is sponsored to you by Kanye West, who is has a song called "Bullied" and seemed to be bullied straight out of the United Kingdom because they never let him in to continue his tour. But that's none of my business, right? Let's leave that to Kim Kardashian and whoever else. So listen, the topic again is charity, change, and the value of existence. And in this case, it's always we put the case before you know. It's either together or separate. So you may, and I'm quoting from the one of our national heroes, who is one of the drafters of our constitution and founding member of the People's National Party. That is Norman Washington Manley. And paraphrasing, and I heard it from the most honorable PJ Patterson, who says that you can choose to swim together or sink separate. So that's the context in which we're talking about. The person who is selfish is a loner, can do so by himself, or united we stand. And it's not united we stand, divided we fall, but knowing that if you are swimming together, you have a greater chance of success than trying to do it individually. I know that by virtue of living in a high crime society that is Jamaica, notwithstanding the political pageantry and the performative politics that says that crime is down and we're so okay in life. If you live in a high crime society, which Jamaica remains as it is right now, the citizen will always have to find ways to ensure that they take care of themselves and they figure out and navigate the spaces that they're in. It means that a lot of it is individual effort, which is why we are not surprised when we hear that we have Jamaicans winning bobsled, winning all the goals. Speaking of goals, shout out to the two young field athletes out of Happy Grove School who medaled in the Carifta Games. It's not a simple feat, and I bigging them up and know that I wonder where I know my team in Portland Eastern, and I'm gonna call no name because it's true me want the lion and the money gun them. Me not call out nobody name, but I know them listening that we are going to have to go to Happy Grove and reward these two athletes for their for representing their school. And I'm gonna call them name Jaquan Soden, and he is a decathlon athlete, and Xavier Tracy. Their coach is Damian Reed, but I definitely, because they did under they came second in the boys under 20 decathlon and third in the under 17 discus. So I broke mold right now just to give them recognition, to prove to you that sometimes even when nothing is happening individually, sometimes we rise to the occasion, and as we rise to the occasion, there will be those that cheer for us and those that hate on us. One thing I can tell you, that when you rep for your parish, when you rep for your school, when you rep for your country, everybody comes together because everybody loves a winner. You don't believe me? Just ask the reggae boys. When we never make World Cup, then cost them. When them see we had a next chance and them was doing good under speed, I say the people them all me go buy me jersey, me go buy no a lie. One somebody donate one and me go buy one. For sure yo, me say, yeah, we go World Cup. And then we don't make World Cup and me see them say the reggae boys must go build house and mix cement and turn mason because that's all them good for. So they'll cheer for you today and tear you down tomorrow. That is the nature of society. That's the nature of this separate. But your separate effort is important. But stronger together, swimming together, your existence, the value of your existence can be realized much faster. So I'm starting right there. So I have set the context. I believe I would have set the context, and I'm sure you agree with me because I'm looking at the comments and I'm seeing people saying exactly. So I know that there is some agreement. Again, before I move on, I have to say this. And again, we're talking about charity, we're talking about change and the value of existence. Now, let's talk charity and using the platform because we have in Portland Eastern relaunched the tablet drive for 2026. In speaking to Tanisha B, who is my moderator, she in keeping in the theme strength in numbers. She says if one person donates a tablet, and we not talk about the big extravagant one that will cost whole heap of money, like iPad and the other one, but Android tablet. You can get a tablet for 69 US dollars, sometimes 50, depending on where you are. The importance is that if one person, whether it be there are 214 persons on YouTube at 417 and I say a 182, 84 counts up and down on TikTok. I'm saying the numbers. And there are listeners on Reggae Global Radio and there are listeners on Best FM 100. It is strength in numbers. It's so much easier for those who can to do one than the same person who can to do 10. And strength in numbers would mean that we would reach our goal so much faster because the goal this year is 3,750. That's the goal. Of course, that goal has the number has reduced because Tanisha B, much respect to you, has already purchased 2 Android tablets, and I'm inviting other persons to do the same, whether it be through the GoFundMe. If you do it yourself, we work out the logistics into getting it on the ground so that the children can get it. You can opt to pick the school that you want, whether it be Happy Grove, whether it be Titchfield, whether it be Port Antonio Primary, Port Prospect, whether it be Port Antonio High, Portland High, Ken Wright, any one of the schools. And if I don't say Fair Prospect High, say a problem to me. Comfort Castle, Infant and Primary School, them I get new roof and them want tablets. So I could go on and on, but choose a school if you want. But remember, it's the students individually. And last year, we were able to accomplish 3,000, around 3,500, 3,700. So we are doing what we are supposed to do for the children. That's charity. Now I'm going to give you a conversation about charity, and I'm going to, they say it's important sometimes that the visuals sometimes are hilarious, but I have to show you. So we're talking about charity. This was a controversial week. This was a controversial week for me. And let me explain to you what I'm talking about. So last week, we were able to hand over 2 hospital beds. And I traversed this particular situation with telling you guys about it last week. So I don't need to go over it. But persons of a political persuasion were very angry about the hospital bed, and the comments were less than flattering. Don't need to repeat it, but to say to you that while this was going on, Clovis, when Clovis draw you and give you shoes, say you arrive, because Clovis will make you a barefoot. Well, him still make my belly big and my belly not big. But anyway, let me tell you how it go now. The hospital beds, very significant. These beds are electronic beds. if the government is to purchase these beds, it's in the sum of about 5 million for one of the beds. So let us not downplay the magnitude of these beds. If you know what's currently in the hospitals, it's the old time beds which you have to wind up. They're manual beds and they've been there for a very long time. So the need to replace them, each and every single one, there's a mission to do so in Portland Eastern, and not in the next 30 years, and not three, four, five administrations, and not promises, and not $20 billion later. This is being done through charity. This is being done through community effort. This is non-government, because the reality is the Portland hospital, Port Antonio Hospital, is not an agenda item. It's a C-type hospital, and as you can see, all of the money is being spent on Cornwall Regional, and all of the money is being mismanaged at University Hospital. I need to get into all of that, but to say, the state of our healthcare, it's an embarrassing situation to be in, and I think that Clovis would have set it out nicely. The health minister is seen with a hammer and a nail and years in billions for hospital restoration project. So you'll hear people say, yeah, this is, nobody should be celebrating this because government is supposed to be doing this. The reality is government is not doing it. And even if they're doing it, what you'll find is a treatment as the current state of affairs is. They're only concerned about the West. 6 parishes, because that's how they can maximize the use of funds that they beg or borrow or whatever it is that they are doing. I'm not criticizing. Governments knows what's best. When you vote for them, when you decide that how they take the consequences of how they use their money. What I will say though, and why this is important to note, is that we living in a high crime society are going to have to find ways to ensure that we survive. We're going to have to find ways to ensure that the community that we live in, even if it is being excluded, that it is viable and it's survivable, that it's attractive and it is conducive for human habitation. It simply means then that if a hospital such as Port Antonio Hospital is to become viable, it's going to have the technology, it's going to have the equipment, and then it's going to have the infrastructure improvement necessary. Because Portland, where it is geographically located, is poised to do great things. It would simply mean that if government ignores it, and I don't know any space, any community that can actually function when the hospital is not one where you can get immediate medical attention. We don't have to make the conversations that the roads are bad across Jamaica. So if something happened to you, you don't know, you're taking your chance through junction at a speed to get where you need to get for help. The same holds true. So yes, we've heard about bypass, and yes, we've heard about all of these things, and we welcome all of it. But to ignore health issues, access to proper health care, including X-ray, MRIs, and just all the things that doctors need to give you the best medical attention possible, or even the bare minimum, it's not present. And so all of these things are an improvement is significant. If you living there, I live there, so they always say he who feels it knows it, and the live experience that if God forbid and you had to go there, you don't want to go sit down on a chair or a bench or find yourself in a bed that is not fit for human use, and that is just the reality. Now, I speak about it because there are people who are very angry that Port Antonio received those beds and says the bed should have gone to hospitals that are put to better use. Well, I'm the representative for the people of Portland Eastern, by extension Portland Western, because the hospital is serving Portland immediately, and not going to be deterred by conversations that people are having. But right to update you, exactly after we gave the 2 beds, and the Pennant Foundation is the primary donor for the 2 hospital beds and medical supplies, and we partnered and got this thing done. We also in the works were 10 additional beds. Well, I must tell you, right after we gave the beds, I don't even walk off the hospital compound, and one of the charities announced that um, they were not going to fund the transportation and shipment of the beds any longer, and so we were going to be on our own with that. I won't get into the politics behind that, but to say that it meant that we were not going to be able to furnish, or we were not going to be able to supply the additional 10. Persons were like, well, boy, how is this going to go? But I always tell people, I said, God on time, we will do what we must to ensure we get the 10 beds. So context matters. So I said, how can we get the funds? And I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go in the pool and, tell them to send me lions and tigers and bears, and just 100 lions, and we're good. That should be able to cover it. So here I am in the pool trying to get these beds and things. Look, they're laughing. People laughing. You would have to get the joke. And we're there doing that. And lo and behold, I hear that it is unbecoming of an attorney to be in a pool. How dare you be in a pool? As an attorney, you should not be in a pool and be on social media. It is offensive to Parliament. So, not having a statutory declaration certified is not offensive to Parliament. It's acceptable. How do I know it is acceptable? The Prime Minister, who doesn't have his declaration certified, was given a mandate by the Jamaican people. But to be in a pool with your shirt off makes it, you shouldn't be in Parliament, because, oh my God, it affects the people of Jamaica if you go in a swimming pool with your shirt off, because the rules change. In fact, moralists in Jamaica, persons with pristine moral turpitude, believes that if you're a lawyer and if you're a part of the noble professions, doctors, accountants, yes, and lawyers and judges, you should wear your tab, a 3-piece suit, and go to the beach and also in the pool, especially the pool, because the pool is intimate. It's an intimate space where one should not even be on social media while in a pool. So therefore, you can have statutory declarations not certified, but you cannot be in a pool. In fact, they believe that you should ignore the Constitution and person should be removed immediately. You should be called and made to resign if you're in a pool. So let's forget the fact that Putin and Obama have all been and these are powerful, most influential leaders in the world. Leaders who are actually significant, and they would have done it. So there is precedent for that. But also, it also says that persons who find themselves in, situations like, for instance, there's a former minister of education that's before the court for thieving money, and it is his right to fight for his innocence and the presumption of innocence. But there are people who feel like that situation should be treated different. The same moral compass would have attacked the president of the JTA currently, who has reported that there are persons who are in shelters who are having sex on the school compound in visual sight of children. So the Child Care and Protection Act says you have a duty to make these things public and make it aware, because we have to protect our children, right? And while these things are being put out, you hear people saying, where is the evidence? So the most unfortunate thing was saying that the JTA president is not supposed to raise the fact that there is a possibility, an allegation that persons in the schools are having sex and are exposing children to sexual activities, let alone knowing the fact that there is case law that children on school compounds have been sexually assaulted by teachers, guidance counselors, dean of discipline, principals, all of you, coaches. They've all, the gamut have all gone through the court system. None of them is infallible to the realities that the school is an area where children are exposed to sexual activities, even amongst themselves. That's why we have the good old having sex with a person under the age of 16. That is actually a crime, and it is prosecuted regularly. And if you ever come across a learned DPP, she will say that if you're in St. Catherine, it seems like that's the only thing she prosecute over there more than anything else in the circuit court. So let's not pretend that their persons are not now politicizing a real concern that affects children in this country. No, I'm not going to get political, and I'm not going to write a press release, and I'm not going to pontificate, and I'm not going to be a part of any political pageantry and performative politics to address an issue that affects kids. Melissa came in October, it gone, and we're in April. You still have people in shelters after promises were made that container homes or prefab homes will be provided as a temporary solution to solve the homeless problem. It means that the shelter problem should not have been an issue, and nobody should be coming to the media and saying shut up and bring the evidence. And I'm going to just say this, and I hope this is the part where people screenshot and put out. Social media bloggers who blog for political parties, and that is your source of income. When you hide behind filters, you don't have no education, you don't have nothing to you. In fact, if you weren't blogging, your existence would be useless. Do not conflate and mislead people in issues that affect children. There can be absolutely no justification to try to defend an allegation that there are shelterees having sex on the compound while school is in session. And if the JTA person, the president, did not raise that, he should resign. And any person who is defending that situation and say words such as bring the evidence and show the proof, you are one of the problems that promote pedophile behavior and sexual abuse against children. You are the reason why children are exploited sexually in Jamaica. Anybody who blogs and tries to promote, politicize, and shift the narrative through ad hominem when an allegation that children may be exposed visually, physically, theoretically, possibly to any sexual or performative sexual experience on school compound while parents have sent their children to learn, you are criminal and you're in breach of the Child Care and Protection Act. If it come and to try to say do not put it in my knowledge without evidence is problematic. It is probably one of the reasons why when children and women are victimized sexually, they have fear to report because they will hear people who blog and say, bring the evidence. But I won't get it, I won't descend into the arena, and I certainly won't be a part of pushing any narrative, but to say that the JTA president, Mark Malaver, He has clapped back at critics questioning his reports of shelterees committing sexual acts while occupying school-based shelters, and he is declaring that he informed Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris Dixon. And now, let me just say that if it comes to your knowledge that these things are happening, the response could never be bring the evidence and show proof. And if somebody has even anonymously raised it, it is your duty to immediately investigate. But while you're investigating, government can stop everything they're doing and provide alternative shelters immediately and remove the nastiness or the possibility of nastiness from the children and exposing them. That is my position on that. And anybody who feels otherwise, I understand there are people who keep up umpy-skumpy behavior in this country. There are people who don't want the sexual offenses registry open. There are people who condone abuse of children at all stages, at every form, in churches, in schools, in library, public places, private, all in the house. And all I'm saying is, when it comes to the youth, this is where I will join the conversation and say to you that if it is even an iota of possibility, one need not give proof, but to shut down immediately any exposure or possibility of exposure to children, because again, and see somebody get it, we have a responsibility to protect our children from all of the evils of life, and we need not cause them to participate or be influenced by anything, conduct or actions. This is the same set of people that have posted their discomfort with how persons have paraded photos of the young athletes at Boys and Girls Championship, and the discomfort. And the same set of people respond and say, oh, you're going so over that for. Low them, man, I just picture if them never want to get exposed, them wouldn't run. Them wouldn't, and what you worry about? That is where the moral fabric, the moral decay in our society starts to take place. And so, yeah, gonna put it in context that the responses to Mark Malava, if that's the correct pronunciation of his name, and the vitriol to raise a concern that affects children, and the defense against it, because nobody has said that he is wrong. Nobody has disproved that the possibility exists. Not probability, possibility. And the response is most unfortunate. And so, again, we talk about charity and we talk about change. If the government is incapable of finding alternatives, then they should use their public spaces and their platform and say, we broke another money, it's not in our budget, but we have begged some help from first world countries. We are already doing their bid and we are already abusing our citizens in the name of first world countries. The least they can do is help you to achieve some of the lies that you told post Melissa, and provide some of these homes, these container homes that I object to people living in, but put them in places that they can come off of the school compound and stop having sex in the view of children. That is what the reality is. So I say to you, and I'm totally not apologizing for it, that if you feel that raising issues that affects children and the possibility that the issues raised and the conduct of the persons in question had in fact taken place, and say that we should await due process and an investigation. Can you imagine if that was the approach in all scenarios where a woman was raped and she said, I get raped, and they say, well, we're gonna wait and bring the evidence. You don't just come into the police station, woman, and say you get raped. Show us the video. Because that's exactly, I can let me just stop right there and say the very argument when persons are condoning slackness about bringing the evidence, yeah, and them are no prosecutor, and them are say bring the evidence before I can make a decision on situations where in the first place, if the circumstances wasn't a reality manufactured by natural disaster, we wouldn't be having the conversation. So let's look at it. If that is the approach that we're taking, then we are having selective prosecutions, we're being biased, we're being totally disingenuous. Because, and I'm going to raise it right here, Dennis Gordon, one who is founder, owner of one of 4 companies that the names are being thrown around in the PAC and in Parliament. That particular situation, the same people that is saying bring the evidence is the same people that are saying let us revisit the ethics committee that gave Dennis Gordon an exemption. Now, we look for what is the legal ramifications, we look for what is the moral ramifications. And if we put things in context, then you can't have your cake and eat it too. Nor am I going to participate in anybody who is going to selectively say that because somebody is on your side or whatever. There are positions that people must take, and the positions must be correct in law, must be correct in morality, and we must decide whether we're upholding the Constitution, the law, or morality. And because I operate under the Constitution, because once I am in keeping with the Constitution and nothing I do is repugnant or not allowed under the Constitution, it matters not what you think. Who are you to question what the Constitution allows? And I can answer you and tell you, you're not nobody. So when people get up and you call for resignations and you write these big elaborate press releases about what leaders should do and who you demand to circumvent the political will of the people. Let's start right there. But then the same people who are saying that Dennis should resign and be removed from Parliament is now saying that you must bring the evidence that people in the school having sex in front of picnic. Otherwise, we now leave them, allow them. That type of situation ethics is even repugnant to Jesus himself during Easter, and is evidence as to why he ended up on the cross. So I will say to you, there must be some consistency in our values, and there must be fairness. Yes, there must be equity. And more than anything, it must be in keeping with the Constitution, so that a preventative method or measure would be so that no evidence has to be collected. Just the fact that the issue raised is that persons are exposing young people to nastiness, it should be cut out, because it is government who is responsible and creating a dangerous situation. And let me tell you something about the law of omissions. There is a general rule that there is no duty to act, but the very law creates exceptions, and it says except in 5 circumstances. I don't want nobody feel say when we go to law school at chicken, me did a jerk, you know. Me did a work and learn the law. And I invite people to go and understand the law, and have an appreciation that you don't just make law and you don't flout law. You have to be respectful and mindful. So when the government itself creates a dangerous situation because it is the Minister of Local Government that has sanctioned persons to go and be in shelters in school, and that schools are operating. And I'm telling you, it is a decision that the minister is caught between a rock and a hard place. Because me, Isaac Buchanan, human rights spokesperson, had the same man who ever come up and say, Minister Desmond, how you don't have no way to put the people in? You is a wicked. You're supposed to at least let them stay in the school, in the shelter. Oh, you could have denied them access to shelter. Oh Lord, you're wicked. Mr. Desmond, do better. So he has taken a decision that the persons post Melissa had to live somewhere, and he was 100% correct. At the time, school never even did a keep. But months have passed and government cannot be lazy. The circumstances are changed and the situations have to be revisited. And so the government must demonstrate that they are helping people with every passing day. And we are supposed to be given updates to show that persons are being transitioned back to reality, because living at a school while school is being kept is an infringement on access to education in every sense of the word. The quality of the education is diminished if you send your child to school and sex education is not on the curriculum for them to learn at whatever grade, and they're being exposed to the statue out of Heroes Park, Emancipation Park, the two big statue with the breast that's out and the penis and the vagina and whatever is exposed. They don't need that in real time. This is a reality that we cannot pretend that we can defend. You cannot defend the indefensible. And I'm speaking on it strongly to say that those who have ears, let them hear. And those who have eyes, let them not see. And if you have proclivities that you want to see videos for your own personal gratification, and the call to bring the evidence is only a demonstration of where your mind is, so much so that you must satisfy yourself and invite people to video the situation so you can review it yourself to determine if this is what the people them see and the picnic them exposed to, and if it nasty. Because I will say to you, it can't be the people saying bring the evidence, the same people that say police no need for wear body cam. And in fact, the only time police video was when the soldier come in for turning himself and said, just shoot me now, please, please. Yeah, it could never be that. Right? No, man, I'm very aware the statue that I speak of is very, 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 very relevant to our situation. So we're not having please do not detract and have any conversations about the forward and progressive artwork that is out at Heroes Emancipation Park. Let us not go there. We're not going to do that. Respectfully. But I'm going to say to you that we have to put all matters in context, and it is important that we do so. All right? Now, the issue then about change, executing change. We almost take the 10 minutes to finish the point that I was making. So having delivered these hospital beds and having the other 10 beds in the pipeline, and I can even announce 460 metal, aluminum I should say, crutches, all for Port Antonio Hospital. Because I can tell you, if you live in a port, them say if you live in a glass house, don't throw a stone. If you live in a Portland Eastern, sad to say, the roads are so bad down there. Even I am shocked myself because I thought that it was carpet down there. But the roads are so bad that people always breaking them legs. So crutches and walkers and wheelchairs are almost second nature to the advancement and existence of Portlanders, certainly in East Portland. And so I'm announcing or proud to update that we have crutches secured and many foundations working together because government now go give nothing to Portland Eastern. And I ask Christ, not even 2 fish wire. Ask anybody in Portland, look, check the Hansard, how long me a beg fish wire can get now. Beg me have to beg it, me in opposition. But as I said, those crutches are here, and you know why they're here? Because people can't afford these things. So naturally, you're going to have to try to get everything possible that will minimize expenditure and expenses for people who cannot afford it. Many of our brothers and sisters all across Jamaica, we are surviving. So when health scares and crises come to the forefront, we cannot afford it. There are people who cannot even afford to die. The only blessing for people when them dead is to them family, through them love them, I go bury them. Most unfortunate. So the context that we live in is that life, death is final. And so I'm saving for the next hour to speak on that aspect of it, but to say that we have to think about how important it is for the diaspora, for friends of the diaspora, for societies that are in better conditions than us to provide assistance, not to the country of Jamaica, but to the people of Jamaica. Because we came out of an election that says choose Jamaica. Having chose Jamaica, note, it is only Jamaica them taking care of, not the people. And I make no apologies for that. And yes, Portland people pay taxes, and they said they have an entitlement to proper health care funded by the government. And the government is funding it and telling you go to Cornwall Regional Hospital if you're sick, as well as UE. And when you go to the UE hospital, you might can get to get some tax-free, tax exemption furnitures and other items and equipment if you know somebody up there who does the signing. And all they're going to do is change the address. You understand? So that's the purpose really of UE, not to provide no health care to you. Just putting that out there. And if I'm wrong, certainly that's not what has been demonstrated recently. And so because we know, if it's one thing I've learned is through all of this Melissa experience, is that while there are persons with compassion and persons who are ready to give, to be charitable, the greatest worry is whether or not the people who the charity is intended for will receive such a charity. And I'm hard pressed to, I'm one to ask these questions, but I am not the accountability meter, but to say that the efforts and the collaboration and joint partnership between the charities that have been providing for the people of Portland Eastern, one wonders where is the charity, where is the things them that came from foreign, in other places, because I don't feel like the people have been receiving the magnitude of what was intended for them. So yes, the mantra choose Jamaica. If you have chosen Jamaica, you have donated to Jamaica. What you have failed to do is to assist the Jamaican people. It's two different things going on. And if you put it in context, you will have a full understanding of that which I am speaking about. So when somebody says, where the money there? I could have never me you asked that. Yeah? Because all things are counted for from those who provided it. That's all I'm saying. When you do what you are supposed to do, nobody's gonna call it to account for it because it is done in the way it is supposed to be done. So me just have to say, stop trying to make a money off of the backs of the people and actually service the people. I don't know who I put in that out to, but them say me throw my can and me no call no foul. Who the cap fit? Just wear it. Yeah? With any luck, if you have hair upon your head like me, you know have to do the beanie man, you feel me? Anyway, said what I said where that is concerned. And I just want people to appreciate that. Having said it, here it is for the last 4 minutes now. After that one charity withdrew support out of miscommunication and deliberation. And I want to say that I went into the pool, and having gone to the pool, the money immediately was raised. But it didn't go that way. I'm not that sexy. In fact, people them go on so bad about how my belly big. We never raise the money where we think we never raise. But at the 11th hour, because there is, when God is present in all that you do, you fret not thyself ever. Verona, where you laugh off. What walking in divine everybody laugh off of me, sir. But anyway, I was too sexy for my shirt. You feel me? Yeah. Anyway, but the money was raised, and we will announce the relevant charity at the appointed time. But at the 11th hour, we received the funds. Bed is en route along with the crutches, and anything else have to be announced is gonna be a surprise, because when great things are in the making, you know want the people them were really bad mind here we're going and try to stop it. So Portland, big things coming for you in the health sector, because I'm telling you, it's a simple thing, We might can't do the maths like Damien. Big up Damien Crawford, who is not a buckle stopper. But when we did say we are bringing the heat, that's exactly what we're doing. And for the health component, we are resolute that we're changing the system internally by modernizing through technology the space. We intend to say at the end of the day that all that is required is to build up, not out, but to improve vertically, so that that hospital will be able to transform itself to an A-type hospital. And it will be done, if it's not done between now and 2030, which is the end of that of this administration, I can tell you the next administration will do what it has to do. Health is wealth, health is life. We can't continue to do PR around it. It is that important and significant. Now, yeah. So that, having said that, money was raised, rather we're getting that done, and many other things coming, and we're not going to stop, because charity is the order of the day. When government fails to do its work, it is the people. Power is in the people. The people can never be disenfranchised or disappointed or abused because of a lack of commitment to improving the lives of people. That is my position where that is concerned. And I just want to say that at the next hour, we're going to have a conversation about life, change, and togetherness, and what does that need. All right. See you at the top of the hour.
It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. them say life much better, you live it your own way. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You know I heard them say life much better, you live it your own way.
Want to say a special shout out to Donna Ella Wallace, London, England, Sheen and Brian Tullock Gaines, Laverne Archer, Carol, and Greg Black from Canada through the Care JA partnership with Garrett Trading and Installation Limited, and that's Peyton Page Tullock and Alison Tullock. And we just want to say thank you for the donations to the people of Portland Eastern. This goes a long way in continuing the care package effort for the post-Melissa relief. We appreciate you and the continued partnership with the Member of Parliament from Portland Eastern, myself. And we look forward to many more donations and assistance for the people of Portland Eastern. A much needed and timely donation. Blessings. All right, so I'm happy to present to Roma, the granddaughter of Miss Addie, Addie and my mommy, the check of $125,000. This takes the current foundation to $425,000. We look forward to future donations, and this donation is coming from myself, Isaac Buchanan, the Member of Parliament for Portland Eastern, as well as Dr. Fenton Ferguson. There is a long history with Dr. Ferguson and Miss Addie, but what I will say is that a life well spent and a life lived continues through legacy. So we are supporting this foundation 100% and look forward to continuing to strengthen the foundation as it aligns with our mandate in Portland Eastern, which is to bring the heat, which is health, education, agriculture, and tourism. As the spokesperson on youth and human rights for the opposition, People's National Party, I can tell you that we look forward to great things and partnering. This is Roma. See her face, remember it. She looks like her grandmother, and she will be collecting all the donations and transparency and accountability. I'm confident that she's the perfect person to match this project and this foundation where it needs to be to helping the youth of Portland. So this is to you and the foundation.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Buchanan, and also Dr. Ferguson. This generous contribution will help honor my grandmother's legacy, her importance, or her push on the importance of education and helping the youth to school, books, uniforms, eat. This contribution will go very far away, and I'm very appreciative of everything that you have done. So thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome. We launched the foundation yesterday. And I'm saying yesterday, dating it, because on the 29th of March, Miss Addie was laid to rest. If you were there to listen to some of the tributes, you would understand. But I take with you, if you're ever buying fish, don't eat it unless it's 10 pounds or more. Otherwise, we don't want it. But I'll just say that she has impacted me in such a way that if somebody can touch you in just a short time and you remember her, that is definitely why we live and the purpose of life. I don't know it, but I know that is a part of it. So blessings to you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
It's It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right. It's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it straight. No time for living a lie. You can make it if you try. No, I heard them say life much better you live it your own way.
Greetings, welcome back to Context Matters. The date is April 9th, 2026. And if you are tuned in from Best FM 100, Wagwan, just continue to listen and feel free to send me a message through YouTube or TikTok while you're traversing on the streets. I know the traffic is horrible now because it was raining earlier in the Kingston area. What I want to say to you also is if you are tuned into Reggae Global Radio, my diaspora family, we have restarted the tablet drive, and I want to say a special shout out to Tanisha B, my moderator on TikTok. She came up with the brilliant and beautiful idea and have put her money where her mouth is. She started and says 2 tablets between now and August will be 10 tablets, and she's committed to doing so. I would encourage all my moderators, Verona, Samantha, Gardner. If I don't call your name, you know who you are. And even Walking in Divine Purpose, who is showing everybody the GoFundMe as well as the Zelle right there on YouTube to try to commit to the same thing. If it's even one tablet a month would take us to our goal, one step closer to our goal, which is 3,750 tablets. All tablets are for the children who attend schools in Portland Eastern. Notice how specific I was. Once you're in the school, we're going to Portland Eastern. I'm gonna care who vex. I am ensuring that the first school that is completed is Fair Prospect High School. That's my school. So you see, once you go to Fair Prospect High School, every single child between now and August is going to have a tablet as a part of the tablet drive. There's some who got already, but we're completing it school by school to make sure that the children who go to the particular schools in Portland Region 2, but Portland, Eastern Portland schools will be afforded or given a tablet. So that's where we are. So respect to Tanisha being my moderator on TikTok for being prospective and doing what you are doing in relation to the tablet drive. I really appreciate you. And we're going to make it work, you know. I have also spoken to the Minister of Education, who will facilitate me getting these tablets here once we have them. And so don't get it twisted. I wanted to know, say, the government is not opposed to children getting technology and not opposed to children getting anything. In fact, I have desks and chairs en route to Fair Prospect High School and Port Antonio Infant. So I can tell you that when we work together, and remember the order of the day is charity, these things will come out. The best interest of the child is paramount, and I just have a vision as a part of the heat component that when it comes to education, the technological divide is a gap that we have to fill. Melissa has created a disaster, but it has also opened the market where Starlink, and if anybody knows me, I was always promoting Starlink and to get you a Starlink. These days, Starlink now run as efficient as it used to because so many people are now on the network. But I appreciate also that access to the internet is one component that is easy resolved in spaces where we're providing. So much so, once the tablet drive is complete and we start, as I said, with Fair Prospect High School, when it comes to internet access, the Moral Foundation has provided Starlink, and I'll be launching that and committing to ensure that it is sustained at Fair Prospect High School, to ensure that the children also have access to internet. They have some there, but we're strengthening the connectivity to ensure that the children interface with the technology. You see how long I'm talking on this? The vision will not be deterred, and the revolution will not be televised. It may come in a Clovis cartoon in the Observer, but it won't be televised. I promise you that. Somebody said, please bring back dignity and integrity in politics, because there's none at the moment under the JLP capitalist criminal administration. Boy, Daniel Taylor, what I like to do is be respectful to my colleagues, regardless of which side they're on. So I don't know if I share your view where that is concerned, but to say that I know that there's a difference between Jamaica and the people of Jamaica, and my mandate and object and purpose is to the people of Jamaica. Hence why all of these initiatives, because it has to be completed. We can't just sit idly and let time go by, because if you know anything about God and time, we institute change by moving on God's time and not man's time. That's all I will say. And walking in divine purposes, can we get 3 people to donate to the GoFundMe or the Zelle, no matter how small? Thanks. There you go. Listen to Walking in Divine Purpose, because she owes a tablet. So does Verona, KK, and Samantha. So we're waiting for their commitment before they invite anybody else to commit. So that being said, we're now at 5:12, the top of the hour, and we are talking about charity, change, and the value of existence together. We're talking about together versus separate. And there you go. Verona says she pledges 2 tablets per month. So she's adopted what Tanisha B said, and she also said, I've said it from, and I think she's shocked that I say 2 tablets per month, but that's how law and language work. But anyway, I wanna just get back to what we were saying, togetherness versus separate. And I'm gonna use this platform to now talk about something that is spiraling out of control. And I'm going to start by saying that today we had our child diversion committee meeting at the House of Parliament, led and chaired by the Honorable Minister of Justice, Delroy Chuck. Now, the DPP gave her contribution along with her team. And this is in the context of strengthening the child diversion legislation. There's a particular section 37(2) of the Child Diversion Act that gives a judge the power to divert matters that's not a child diversion crime. So it's not in the schedule. And it means then that a judge, in the interest of justice, has the power, no matter what the child is charged for, to divert it and spare the child from prosecution. I want people to understand that every judge who sits down at the parish court or the Supreme Court, whether at circuit or not, has the power to look on Smaddy Picnic and divert the case in the interest of justice. A part of the interest of justice is also the fact that the best interest of the child is paramount. The purpose of child diversion legislation is to allow children, our sons and daughters of Jamaica, to escape the rigid arm of the law, the heavy hand of the law, that takes up your good picnic who make a mistake and destroy them life before them even go into adulthood, before them responsible to even pay a bill in a life, before the mother get the joy of saying tomorrow when you turn 18 and you think you're a man and woman, come out of my house and go on. That lovely experience that's filled with adrenaline, the power to tell the picnic where you did force to race for 18 years for come out before them have little ambition and try go to university, and then the law say you have to mind them till them are 23. You get that out of the way before. So having said that, there was some confusion as to whether or not the DPP is saying that was a power that was too strong for the judge to have, or that the DPP should also have that power by virtue of Section 94 of the Constitution. Now, I will just take this opportunity to put in context and educate the people that the office of the Director of Public Prosecution is a constitutional one. It has great powers and rises to the level of judicial power. In fact, she has the power to prosecute or decline to prosecute. And in exercising that power, it is very rare that courts will interfere with the discretion because it is given to her by the Constitution. So the conclusion then is that because she is the person who ultimately decides to prosecute or not prosecute, null prosecute, then she too should have that power. Of course, I jump up because I say you could have never want to take that power from the judge, because the judge is the custos morum of the Constitution, and in my mind, certainly the only person competent to tell me to go on my yard when everybody want me to go to prison. Because you see where I'm going with this. So, Madam DPP made it clear that it was just to ensure that the prosecution should be elevated to having that power, and I agree 100%. In fact, I supported everything that the learned DPP and our junior, Mr. Green and company, would have submitted to the Joint Select Committee, save and except for Section 9(2)(a) of the Child Diversion Act, which speaks about accepting responsibility. I understand that our most erudite Chief Justice Brian Sykes says he interprets it to mean that the picnic must plead guilty. And while it is that the interpretation, the generous interpretation, is that the child is merely to say that, yeah, me did do it, but not saying I'm guilty in a criminal sense, that would pretty much put him in harm to sentencing and conviction, and discharge the burden of the prosecution. So these are things that's happening right now in the Parliament and the committee, the Child Diversion the Child Diversion Committee, looking at the Child Diversion Act, and want people to know more than anything that, as we were speaking earlier, the best interest of the child is a concept that the entire Jamaica must become aware of. And I've said it in many spaces, and I'm going to say it again. We must, as a matter of compulsory, right? We must, as a matter of compulsory, educate our society to know what society's duty is to every child. Because every child in this country, I feel a child, I feel we own, and their prospects must be so that access to education, the quality of the education, and the opportunity to become the best versions of themselves is not eroded or deferred because of their standing in life. Children must exist in this country and not know so them mother and father poor. Except that them bright and them have a feeling them, but they must turn an adult and say, you know, I had a feeling, but me never know. If you're not hearing, sign out and come back in. Who else is not hearing me? But they must be able to say, I had a feeling, that my mother and father were not people of means, but as to how they did it, what as to how they did it, only alone could tell me. Now, having said that, the children advocate also gave her contribution, and the office of the children advocate would have posited that uncontrollable minors should not be clogging the child diversion facilities because it's preventing the legislation from acting and doing what it was purposed to do. I will reserve judgment on that, but will say that I still take issue with the concept of the uncontrollable minor, and in fact believe that it is the parent who should be considered an uncontrollable parent for being unable to control their child. It's a concept that we have to think about, but children should not be punished because their parents are delinquent. That's exactly the point. The same way we say children should not know that they are poor or be treated poor because their parents are. So we have to look at that to get to the point. So anything when it comes to the child. In fact, the United States have gone that way. Rather than prosecuting the child when the child decides that he's gonna go do mass shootings in America, and when if him even take him father car and go lick down somebody, it is the parent who is charged. They have gone. So if you bring children into the world and can't control them, all of their liability lies within you. That is where it's supposed to be. So the people then will like tell people say, don't talk to me picnic. You don't bother come go on like you want tell my picnic what to do. You are 100% right. Because what we need to do is to minimize when the parents come on the TV and say it was a good boy and don't do nobody nothing. That we say we agree with you because we're gonna lock you up instead because you never know to control your good boy. That is the idea of child diversion. So let me make sure that we're putting it in context that we're talking about the power of child diversion, the power of using legislation and a mechanism to ensure that we rein in children who are susceptible to making mistakes, whose brain and I have to say this, whose brain is developing. The brain doesn't stop developing until you're about 23 to 25. That's a period in which your brain starts to matter. Context matters. You're floating from your young, you're a youth right up to 29 in Jamaica, but at 25 is when you just walk into yourself. Everything else is getting there, right? So no, I don't. I haven't. Let me walk in the divine purpose has asked me if the 2-for-1 tablet deal, if it is available this year. I haven't engaged a company yet because usually what happens is we raise a certain amount of tablets and then the companies usually decide to match it. You have to give me something to work with. So that's really what we're doing, and I will announce when we get to the first 100 tablets. Once 100 tablets are secured, whether it be for shipping, then I'll engage. Last time it was Geotech, and they gave me two for the price of one. Um, So that is very important. Right. So having said that, hold on. Yeah, having said that, going back to the child diversion aspect, and want to be clear on this. Having said that, we have to look to issues like recording, and shout out to everybody who is tapping the hearts on TikTok. And if your fingers are hurting, don't stop until they drop off, okay? It's for a cause. Anyway, yeah, the aspect of recording and keeping records. Now, I always in conversations, country in Kingston. Well, if you're white, it is Little Timmy. If you're in Kingston, is Little Johnny and Little Tyrone. Once in a country is Little Delroy. So me always have to talk up for Little Delroy and Little Desmond. And to say that we cannot be creating profiles for juveniles. And I will always take issue with that juveniles are to enter adulthood with a clean slate. And as a country, again, let me say it slow, we are to treat our children, our youth, as if they were white. If we can appreciate that context, we will erase the 400 years of slavery and the trauma and the post-traumatic slave syndrome that comes with it, that would have caused the United Nations just last month to announce that slavery, that the African Atlantic slave trade was the most heinous crime against humanity. Good. Somebody say I know Delroy and Desmond are Fitzroy. Why you leave Fitzjackson out of this and Portmore him there. But anyway, having said that, things that became concerning to me, and I just want to know to bear with me as I talk about this that is concerning to me. Do you know that we have an alarming, let me find these things, because I want to know, to see where I'm going with this. We have an alarming rate of it is killings by the police. It's so alarming. It's so alarming that guess what? Guess what, my family? Guess what, my people? They were able to. This is the headline out of the Star. Bloody Easter. Teens among 11 killed in wave of police shootings, and Indicom is alarmed. Now, why am I even raising this? Well, I'm going to remind you until in a time. Life is something given to us without knowing we are to receive it. In talking about child diversion, you do appreciate that children will have to be alive if they are to become adults. You do appreciate that if children are making mistakes, the same mistakes that grown-ups are making, right? If children are making the same mistakes that adults are making and held to the same standard, then we're in big trouble. But I want people to understand that they have said, and this is true, they have actually said that it is a bloody Easter. Means that them unalive 11 people, and it says teens, they've killed teenagers. And I'm sure you'll appreciate that the teenagers were put to the same standard, that the police experience gun battle and they were challenged by these teens and they were unalive, and those teens were the most wanted, and possibly they were leaders of the goat gang and the pig gang and the cow posse. So it's alarming. And remember, as a spokesperson for youth and human rights, these are the right to life has been breached by the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and these are youth. And I'm 100% sure that there is not demonstrably justifiable within a free and democratic society. It's not. In fact, I will go one step further to say that it's not unaliving. The case of the King against Clegg makes it absolutely clear that extrajudicial killing is murder unless self-defense is proven. That is only proven where where you're charged and it's proven by a court, or there is an investigation, and if it's even the coroner's court comes to a decision that the response is proportionate to the threat. Now, there were videos circulating of a teenager, a young boy who, I guess he was misbehaving, and the police beat him and kick him and punch him. Well, they do it to 82-year-olds too. An interdiction is not enough when a JCF member breaks rank and abuse senior citizens. And so it's the same rule when you abuse teenagers, let alone kill them. And you were young once, I don't understand if you're seeing these young people and treating them like man when them are picnic. When the scientific evidence says that the brain doesn't develop until you're 25. What is the conversation about murdering teenagers? And what could they have been going through? Arrested development, suspended capacity, diminished capacity, exposed to smoking ganja, acting like an imbecile and delinquent. Since when these misguided realities meant that you were to be afforded death as a form of punishment? Who can answer this question for me? Because I cannot, for the love of me, accept in any society, let alone a free and democratic society, that extrajudicial killings is a response to fighting crime. It is as unconstitutional as states of emergencies, and it must be rejected. Me, I ask people to choose life. I'm asking persons to stop and say that no matter how people feel that it is a tool, a crime fighting tool, it infringes, it breaches, it's repugnant to the Constitution. And these are in circumstances where, and I think I'm now compelled to address the situation fulsome. And I want to say that I would have seen and come across videos, two videos, and I'm gonna find them and I'm gonna share them with you, and then you will see where I'm going with this, because there is a situation where you have one set of circumstances where you see the camera is important, but the Minister of Security says, and Peace, has now said that he doesn't feel that body cams is something that is going to advance or is needed at this time. Well, my people, it's the same thing. They murder the people. They say it's justified. They tamper with the evidence. They move the spent shells. They take up the body. The crime scene cannot be reinvented. And even when members of parliament go into the courts to testify what they see, they get cussed and say they shouldn't be doing it, when they should be given medals of honor for defending the citizens, which is our duty. protecting and defending the citizens, even from themselves, even the delinquent one, is of utmost importance. But I'm just going to show you, because a youth is a youth no matter how you feel. And child diversion, especially when police are given the widest, the greatest amount of power in this society, to even recommend child diversion, to warn, to adopt, to become mentors and role models for delinquent children. You cannot abuse and treat children bad. And I'm starting there. Right. So I leave that to you to say that, remember, even where a child is delinquent, beating, teaming up, 3 against 1, 10 against 1, ultimately aggression, if it leads to murder, unaliving, whatever it is, the response by the people who ought to know better cannot be that you meet them with the same intensity, in the same violence. You're encouraging and showing that bullyism and conquering and remnants of restraint that is reminiscent of the slave experience. It cannot be allowed to happen. But that is just one aspect of it, because let me tell you something. There are situations where, remember, the police have a right to defend themselves. Every citizen has the right to defend themselves. If somebody is going to take your life, you can't stand up and take it. I don't think that is the issue. But that is why we call for the body cams. And that's why we're saying it cannot be right. The amount of persons that have been murdered, and too many children. What is the excuse for the 4-year-old? What is the excuse for the 3-year-old? What are the excuses that we put out in this reality? There can be none. But to say to you that having engaged the proper procedures, that those on the front line who fired their weapons should remove themselves from the crime scene, and the proper authority, which is INDICOM, is allowed to assess the crime scene, don't move the body, don't move the spent shells, don't contaminate the crime scene, so the crime scene can be reimagined, reconstructed, and the investigation reveals whether or not use of force was excessive, and that self-defense is not the criteria. We can't take the word of people who are in uniform who are also citizens. We simply can't. And even today in court, having said to a judge, having said to prosecution, and having said to the police the manner it one, the legislation that you're charging these young men under, again, young men who are progressive youth, who had their own phone company, phone store, phone company, as in they sell cell phones, and they were providing a service, and a police just decide that these two boys were too progressive and lock them up and say, I must thief your thief them phone you, and lock them up under the agricultural legislation and say, you have too much, you have three phone like a tree mango you have, show me the receipt and come produce it, and had them before the court. Of course the judge threw out the matter today, and the young men get back their phones. But even when you're telling people that they're not in the right, they're so hard pressed to prosecute and destroy life, hard pressed to turn ordinary citizens into criminal. And the Privy Council or House of Lord in Sweet and Parsley had said that we're not in the business of doing that, but they do it outside of strict liability. But they people manufacture the drama. Well, in United States, body cam has sent many police officers to prison and conviction. And those who thought that they were acting in the law are in breach of the Constitution. In fact, they're embarrassing the JCF, because the JCF was never designed to mete out the type of murder and mayhem against citizens. Not at all. Well, it's not only that. You see, we must respect people in life and also in death. So I'm going to show you that, having found people, young people, who they say shootout, they allege that it is shootout, but they tamper with the crime scene. They take up the kill, turn it into roadkill, and treat the person with disdain and further bring emotional, psychological harm to the families, human beings that have families. I cannot describe it anymore, but I'm going to show you the video of somebody's child who is said to have committed a crime. Watch when police have tampered with crime scenes and how they treat people, even in death, with disdain. I don't know if I need to repeat it or show that video again. But to say to you, I want you to note the beautiful child in the arms of a mother. And the mother is traumatized because it's a relative, a friend, a neighbor that is experiencing and witnessing the abuse of, and we don't have the evidence. We don't know if the young man is dead as yet. We don't know if medical attention could have saved the life, but we see that the person, how they threw the body, it dropped on the ground and they pick it up and they just throw it into the back without pronouncing. Because you are pronounced, no one can pronounce it dead but a doctor. So to move the body and you're not rushing the body to the hospital is tampering with a crime scene. And whatever protocol that they have, it is improper. It is in breach of all laws of Jamaican laws in the world. And then you're inviting Indicom to come and do what? Reconstruct what? Investigate what? And then the whole Jamaica is mad at Indicom because they cannot make competent decisions to charge because the evidence is tampered with. There's no body-worn cameras, and so you have to take the word of people who will skew the evidence as they seem fit to ensure that the noble institution that they serve, that the highest amount of integrity is upheld for them. Mind you, they will be disassociated immediately from their conduct because that conduct is not of the institution and it's not consistent with the laws of Jamaica. So I definitely always have to call that out when I see it. And I must tell you this, it's a lot. I'm inundated with videos like this. I am overwhelmed with the realities that the prospects of a future for these young people are snuffed out. Not by criminals, not by people who are gadflies and delinquents and menace to society, but by people who are paid by the government and have taken an oath to protect and serve and uphold the law. The response to crime fighting can never be to breach the laws of Jamaica in the name of the greater good. That was not envisioned by the law. In fact, the law makes no provisions for that. You can't even cry or put out to the public that this is self-defense because respectfully it isn't. And so I would definitely have to share that with you to say that that is something that must be corrected and we must revisit that and we must decide. And it may very well be that society has taken a decision that this is the best response as it is now, because then I can appreciate and invite me also, even as a human rights attorney, to say that the actions are demonstrably justifiable, so that when your sons and your daughters are put in similar situations, that you don't complain about it when it reach your doorstep. Otherwise, there must be some consistency in terms of protection of the Constitution, because the access to justice is for all. The treatment and human dignity is for all. The right to life is for all, unless you forfeit it in circumstances where an adjudication by the court, that is, the court says that you are to be put to death. Maybe conversations to revisit that is something that has to happen. I am 100% against the death penalty, but if the people in the society who feels like without that type of draconian mechanism in place, then are free to roam and walk and wreak havoc, then I'm prepared to say that maybe we should reintroduce the death penalty, and whether you're a police or a bad man, once you commit murder, we go down that road, and if you're a police and them find you guilty, they must hang you in your uniform. And if you're a bad man and you feel like said this is acceptable and then find you guilty, maybe they should put you and hang you in the white that you wear, that they must send go get the Obia man for you, say, because you come to court wearing all white, you're all right. So anyway, I think I've made my point and I've exhausted that aspect of it. But I want people to understand more than anything, you see, that we cannot continue to allow the unaliving of our Jamaican youth. We cannot continue to allow abuse of our young, our greatest capital. And if we are to capitalize on the human potential, it is the youth. It is trying to find their talent. There are a lot of youth that were troubled and they have found their solace in track and field, arts, football, reggae music, you name it. And they were what people considered to be the worst of the worst, and they have become the best of the best. So I just will simply say to people that if we take that approach, we possibly will be able to save lives. We will be able to come to a place or come to terms with us not bringing harm all the time to our our Jamaican youth. I feel that's the best I can say where that is concerned. And if I invite persons to also join me in just basically ensuring that we don't harm our citizens and treat us with the greatest of respect, treat us with human dignity, and the same will go the other way, that we are to respect the police in such a way that we we will come to a place that when they start to say that there were shootouts, society will believe that that never got so, because of the high respect and high regard that we have for police. The thing about it is, as an attorney and as of recent a member of parliament, my interaction with the police has been of great respect. In fact, the respect that comes with interacting with the police, I am I am somewhat sometimes in awe, or just cannot fathom in my mind that this is a real thing going on. But I don't live in a bubble, so I know what the reality is. I know what the truth is, and I know that I'm just hoping that we find a different way to deal with each other. Somebody said the thing about is not white man running the country. And I say this all the time. White people have changed the way that they deal with discrimination. They have changed the way they have changed the way that they have changed the way that they deal with other races, even when people think otherwise, but that's just the truth. Um, and until we start to, if we start to continue the madness, then we will feel, or we are the ones that's going to continue to always have this unfortunate disaster, because that is actually what it is, respectfully. Now, having said that, we're at 5:53. I just want to thank everybody for listening. I want people to um, appreciate that everything that is said, thoughts, actions, ideas, is done with love. It's done with a real appreciation for all that is going on. I can say with the greatest amount of confidence that the vision for Jamaica always is to include the people. Currently, what is happening in Portland Eastern is an inclusion of the people in all the decision making, certainly from the office of the Member of Parliament. And because the people and I are one, if there are things that's done around our backs, we are going to want to know what it is that's being done. I going to want to know whose interest is being served, and whether or not the people are being excluded from conversations that it's pretty much belonging to them. And I won't take it any higher but to say that I pray thee, right? That would be big you. But I pray that we get to a place where we are improving the lives of the people and making us competitive in the world at large. Not to wreak havoc against our citizens. And this conversation is about charity. And I just want to highlight one particular charity, and that's the Miyasaka Foundation. I'm saying a special shout out to Carol Pickard, because she's a Maroon, she's a daughter of Jamaica from St. Elizabeth, and a compound Maroon who has gone out into the world and have improve the lives of people in Africa, other places in the Caribbean. And right here in Jamaica, she has partnered with Chief Curry in a compound and has been responsible for assisting in the restoration of a compound and demonstrating to the entire world that the charity was not in vain, and what Chief Curry has done for the people of a compound. I only wish that Jamaica did have had an iota or experience even a third of what was done by Chief Curry, the Miyasaka Foundation, Myriad, and everybody else that partnered with Chief Curry. Similarly, if the rest of the country experience at the magnitude what the charities would have done for assisting myself to do charity in Portland that did not include government, a continued care package distribution even outside of the Melissa period. The government has long stopped care package distribution, and we have been doing that. And I did show earlier what the Tullocks would have done in terms of giving us items, and we expect so many more. I can tell you the Ashe Foundation has an entire trailer of food and items for the people of Portland. But Miyasaka single-handedly donated 4 trailers, containers for storage, for improving the service of the member of parliament. And I'm going to show before the show is over what they have done. And shout out to Carol Pickard, who has never wavered or faltered and continues to support both a compound and Portland Eastern. The partnership that you see happening here in Portland Eastern with the containers, which is here to serve the communities of Portland Eastern, ensuring that human dignity is restored. We have a never-ending care package drive, which is to ensure that the less fortunate, the least among us in Portland Eastern, is able to get care packages, food, toiletries, you name it, sanitary facilities. All of this is there to ensure that the people of Portland is one step closer to restoring that human dignity post-Melissa. And this partnership is well-deserved and a long time coming, so we want to thank the Miyasaka Foundation and Carol Pickard. Carol Pickard is a Jamaican-born humanitarian and founder of the Miyasaka Foundation, dedicated to empowering underserved communities through education, health, and sustainable development. Her work spans from Africa, Canada, and Jamaica, supporting schools, improving access to clean water, funding healthcare facilities, and creating economic opportunities for women. So from the disaster relief to long-term community investment, Carol's work reflects a deep commitment to restoring dignity and expanding opportunity where it's most needed. And this is it. We really appreciate that. And continue to do what? Watch the ride. That's what I'm saying, because big things happening, many more things to come. And I want to thank the other foundations as well. Jamaica Care Foundation, the Guide Outreach Foundation, that's Neil Phillips, and the foundations that are in the United States right now sending 40-foot containers. I'll reveal them when those containers arrive. I keep on saying it, very excited, waiting to go and surprise the Fair Prospect High School, which is a school that I adopted, and we now have a new school board, as well as continuing the donations for the Port Antonio Hospital. We do the best that we can in terms of, with the limited resources that we have, private funding and just assistance from the diaspora is important to what we are doing here. So just continue to watch, tap up the screen, share the live, let people know that we're on here, improving the space and making things happen. If you have questions, just let me know. F1, the thing is a racing car this going on. Big up yourself, Reese. Does context matters for April 9, 2025. So if you're on Best FM 100, thank you for listening. If you're on Reggae Global Radio, I want to say thank you for listening. The next programs are coming up thanks to the sponsors who make this happen and make this possible. Shout out to my moderators on all platforms. See you guys next week. I'm leaving it right there. And again, thanks. It is charity, change, and the value of existence. Together we rise versus separate, we fall and sink and drown. Blessings to you all.
It took some time to understand, yeah, 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 just what it takes to be a man. Now it seems each day you learn something to make a better way. Growing up ain't just a phase, it's reality. And sometimes it's hard to face the world with your head screwed on. But in time you will see, it comes naturally, like the hurt and the pain. It's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep it stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You know I heard them say life much better you live it your own way. But if you need a helping hand, just call on me, I will be your friend. And when it gets hard to face the world with your head screwed on, just tell yourself you can. And that's when you'll understand that the hurt and the pain, it's a part of the game. It's all a part of life, to laugh and to cry. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. You gotta keep on moving on. Don't let no one stand in your way. Gotta keep on pressing on. As we pray for better days, keep it moving, moving to the next. When they try to bring you down, we gotta take it to the next level when they come around. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time for living a lie. Gotta keep it moving till you get it right. That's right, it's all in life. Gotta keep your head up and keep your stride. No time to be living a lie. You can make it if you try. Just keep your head up, yeah. Just keep your head up, yeah. Gotta keep your head up, yeah. Cause everything's gonna be alright.
Keep your head up. Keep your head up. Keep your head up.
Cause everything's gonna be alright.